when my only daughter looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Find somewhere else to die, Mom. You're useless now." I felt my heart shatter into a million pieces. I was 67 years old, freshly widowed, standing in the home I'd spent 43 years making perfect for my family with love, patience, and quiet sacrifices that no one ever seemed to notice. 3 days later, I was sitting in a lawyer's office, and my dead husband delivered the most devastating revenge from beyond the grave that anyone has ever seen. Hi everyone, I'm Margaret Sullivan. If you're watching this from anywhere in America, Texas, California, New York, Florida, Chicago, wherever you are right now, please drop a heart emoji in the comments and tell me exactly where you're joining from. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story has more twists than a pretzel factory, and a powerful lesson about real wealth, humility, and kindness that every single family needs to hear before it's too late. Let me take you back and tell you the full story from the very beginning, slowly and honestly, because there are so many layers here that I need you to feel every single emotion I felt. 2 months ago, I was Margaret Sullivan, devoted wife of 43 years to Robert, a successful businessman who built a comfortable upper-middle-class life for us in our beautiful suburban home outside Atlanta, Georgia. We weren't billionaires, but we lived very well. A spacious house on Oakwood Drive with a big backyard, nice cars in the driveway, country club membership, and enough financial security that I never had to worry about paying bills. I had given everything to that life. I worked part-time when Victoria was young, but mostly I was the one who kept the house running smoothly, cooked every meal, hosted every dinner party for Robert's business associates, raised our daughter, and supported Robert through every late night and stressful deal. I postponed my own dreams of painting and teaching art so that our family could thrive. That was the deal I accepted in marriage, and I did it with love. Robert passed suddenly from a heart attack at 71. The grief hit me like a freight train. I could barely get out of bed. The world felt dark and empty. That's exactly when my daughter Victoria swooped in, acting like the perfect, concerned daughter. Victoria had always been Daddy's little princess. From the time she was a little girl, Robert doted on her. She grew up expecting the best of everything. She married Kevin, a sharp investment banker, and they lived in an exclusive gated community. They drove matching BMWs, took luxury vacations to Europe twice a year, posted picture-perfect family photos with their 2 young children on social media, and she dressed head to toe in designer clothes, Louis Vuitton bags, Chanel shoes, the kind of wardrobe that screams, "We have arrived and we are better than most people." Right after the funeral, Victoria started visiting almost every day. She would sit beside me with this soft, sympathetic voice and say things like, "Mom, this big house is way too much for you now. The stairs are dangerous at your age. The maintenance alone is exhausting. All those memories of Dad. It's not healthy for someone in your situation. You deserve to relax." Her voice always dripped with what sounded like genuine concern, but when I looked into her eyes, I could see something colder, pure calculation. What she really meant, even if she never said it out loud at first, was this: "You're just the old wife who cooked and cleaned for decades. You don't understand money, investments, or the real world like we do. It's time for you to get out of the way so the real heirs, me and my family, can enjoy what Dad built." After the funeral, the pressure became much more intense and obvious. Victoria and Kevin began coming over together for what they called family dinners, but they always ended up cornering me at the dining table with glossy real estate pamphlets. At first they showed me beautiful, expensive retirement communities with pools and activities. But after a few weeks, they quietly switched to showing me cheap senior complexes on the other side of town, the kind with basic rooms and shared facilities that felt more like assisted living on a tight budget. "Mom, these places are wonderful," Victoria would say with a bright smile. "You'll have people your own age to talk to. No responsibilities. Very affordable." Affordable. That word stung every single time. My daughter, who flew first class, shopped at Neiman Marcus without checking prices, and complained if her spa appointment ran 5 minutes late, was suggesting that her own mother should check into what was basically a low-income welfare facility for the elderly, all while she was already mentally spending our $33 million estate. The class tension was unbearable. She lived in luxury she believed she was entitled to, while quietly planning to reduce me to the cheapest possible option. The final blow came on what I now call the worst Tuesday of my life. Victoria arrived completely unannounced with Kevin and 2 large designer suitcases. She walked into the living room like she already owned the place and said, "Mom, we've made a decision. Kevin just got a big promotion. We need to move into town immediately, closer to his office. This house is perfect for us and the kids. According to Dad's will, I inherited everything, the house, the investments, the accounts, all of it. I've been letting you stay here out of pure kindness, but it's time for you to find your own place." I stared at her in complete disbelief. My voice was shaking when I answered, "Victoria, this is my home. I've lived here for over 40 years. Her mask slipped completely for the first time. The fake sweetness disappeared. She looked at me with cold eyes and said, "Actually, Mom, you never really understood money or investments anyway. You were just the wife." Then she delivered the killing blow that I will never forget as long as I live. "Find somewhere else to die. You're useless now." 43 years of marriage, raising her, supporting Robert through his long stressful hours building the business from the ground up, cooking every single meal, hosting every business dinner party, nursing him through 2 major illnesses, giving up my own career dreams in art and education, all of it reduced to 3 cruel words, just the wife and useless. Kevin didn't even look me in the eyes. He just loaded my 2 old suitcases into their shiny black BMW, with the efficiency of someone throwing away garbage. As we drove away from the only home I had known for decades, I watched it disappear in the rearview mirror. That house held every memory. Victoria's childhood birthday parties with homemade cakes, Robert and I dancing barefoot in the kitchen on our anniversaries, quiet mornings drinking coffee together. Now it belonged to the daughter who had just thrown me away. They dropped me off at the Sunset Inn, a cheap motel charging $49 a night. The room had thin walls, thinner towels, and a carpet that smelled like decades of neglect. Victoria handed me $200 in cash like she was tipping a hotel maid. She said casually, "This should cover you for a few days while you get settled." Then they drove off in their luxury car, leaving me alone. I sat on that sagging, uncomfortable mattress and cried for hours. In the span of one afternoon, I had gone from a grieving widow in her own home to a homeless senior citizen. The class difference had never felt so brutally sharp and humiliating. My daughter enjoying the lifestyle of the rich while telling her own mother to rot in a budget motel because I was no longer useful to her. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Robert had always been extremely meticulous about his affairs and documents. He had shown me the original will years earlier and explained everything carefully. I knew in my bones that what Victoria told me couldn't be true. So the very next morning, using the motel's slow Wi-Fi, I searched for Robert's longtime attorney, Harrison Fitzgerald. I took a 20-minute bus ride that cost me precious money from the $200, but it felt necessary for my survival. When I walked into Harrison's office and told the secretary I was there about my husband's estate, Harrison came out looking genuinely surprised and concerned. "Margaret, my dear, I was wondering when you would come in. I tried calling the house several times, but Victoria kept telling me you were traveling and that she was handling everything." Traveling? That was the lie she had been feeding everyone. My stomach dropped. I asked him directly about the will. Harrison looked puzzled at first, then pulled out a thick file folder with urgent movements. He read the real will aloud. "I, Robert James Sullivan, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath to my beloved wife Margaret and Sullivan our primary residence at 847 Oakwood Drive, including all furnishings and personal effects. Additionally, I leave her 70% of all financial assets, investments, and accounts totaling approximately $23 million. My head started spinning. $23 million. The house. Everything I thought I had lost. Harrison continued reading with a serious, when my only daughter looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Find somewhere else to die, Mom. You're useless now." I felt my heart shatter into a million pieces. I was 67 years old, freshly widowed, standing in the home I'd spent 43 years making perfect for my family with love, patience, and quiet sacrifices that no one ever seemed to notice. 3 days later, I was sitting in a lawyer's office, and my dead husband delivered the most devastating revenge from beyond the grave that anyone has ever seen. Hi everyone, I'm Margaret Sullivan. If you're watching this from anywhere in America, Texas, California, New York, Florida, Chicago, wherever you are right now, please drop a heart emoji in the comments and tell me exactly where you're joining from. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story has more twists than a pretzel factory. and a powerful lesson about real wealth, humility, and kindness that every single family needs to hear before it's too late. Let me take you back and tell you the full story from the very beginning, slowly and honestly, because there are so many layers here that I need you to feel every single emotion I felt. 2 months ago, I was Margaret Sullivan, devoted wife of 43 years to Robert, a successful businessman who built a comfortable upper-middle-class life for us in our beautiful suburban home outside Atlanta, Georgia. We weren't billionaires, but we lived very well. A spacious house on Oakwood Drive with a big backyard, nice cars in the driveway, country club membership, and enough financial security that I never had to worry about paying bills. I had given everything to that life. I worked part-time when Victoria was young, but mostly I was the one who kept the house running smoothly, cooked every meal, hosted every dinner party for Robert's business associates, raised our daughter, and supported Robert through every late night and stressful deal. There was complete silence on the other end. Then I delivered the truth that changed everything. Not only did you never inherit anything, sweetheart, but because you failed the respect and dignity clause your father put in place, your entire $10 million is now mine as well. You just cost yourself. She even tried to offer me $5 million in exchange for dropping all the charges against Kevin and Victoria. When I refused, her polished facade cracked and she threatened to expose what she called Robert's dirty business dealings if I didn't cooperate. That threat pushed me to dig deeper. I hired a sharp private investigator named Carol Chen. Together we went through every file in Robert's study. At first we found suspicious payments to shell companies and partnerships that looked questionable. It appeared Robert might have been involved in money laundering. I was devastated. The man I had been married to for 43 years, the man I thought was honest, seemed to have a secret criminal life. But instead of panicking, I did the right thing. I contacted the FBI voluntarily and told Agent Sarah Martinez everything I knew. Then came the biggest, most shocking twist of the entire story. Agent Martinez looked at me across the table and said, "Mrs. Sullivan, your husband wasn't a criminal. For 12 years, Robert was actually a confidential FBI informant. He was helping us build cases against major organized crime families while appearing to facilitate their money laundering as part of his cover. The $33 million he left you was legitimate payment for his extremely dangerous cooperation. It is completely clean." Victoria and Kevin had tried to blackmail me using half-truths about Robert's activities, not knowing he was working for the government the whole time. Their greed had led them straight into even more serious federal charges: fraud, extortion, and witness intimidation. 6 months have now passed since that chaotic time. Victoria has written me 17 letters from federal prison. In the beginning they were defensive and self-justifying. Later they became desperate. She begged for forgiveness, played the grandchildren card heavily, and claimed she only made mistakes because she was under financial pressure. I agreed to one monitored call through her lawyer. Not to reconcile fully, but to set very clear, healthy boundaries. During that call she cried and said, "Mom, I was wrong. I was so entitled. I saw the luxury lifestyle and completely forgot who raised me and sacrificed for me." I looked at her through the screen and told her the honest truth from my heart. "Victoria, I loved you enough to sacrifice my own dreams, my career in art, and many years of my life so you could have a better future. But you chose greed and status over basic kindness and respect. You threw your own mother out of her home when you thought I had nothing left to give. That kind of betrayal breaks something that cannot be easily fixed with prison letters or apologies." I made my boundaries crystal clear. Any future relationship with the grandchildren will be decided by them when they become adults. Supervised visits may be possible one day, but only if real change is shown through actions, not just words. No financial help until she completes her sentence and proves through consistent behavior that she understands the harm she caused. Some family relationships can heal with time and genuine effort, but others teach us an important lesson: that protecting your own peace, dignity, and self-worth is also an act of love, especially love for yourself. Today, my life looks completely different. I have been slowly renovating the house to finally reflect my own taste and personality instead of Robert's preferences. I turned his old dark study into a bright, sunny art studio where I have started painting again. Something I gave up decades ago when I became the full-time wife and mother. The colors, the light, the freedom. It feels like I am finally breathing again after 43 years. With $15 million from the inheritance, I started the Margaret Sullivan Foundation for Elder Protection. We provide legal aid to seniors who are facing financial abuse from their own family members, support legislative changes to strengthen elder protection laws across the country, and run awareness campaigns so no other mother or father has to go through what I experienced. The story even caught national attention. Netflix is currently developing a limited series based on everything that happened. The working title is something like Mother's Revenge, and all the proceeds from the project are going directly to elder advocacy organizations. Looking back on this entire nightmare with clearer eyes now, I realized the real wealth was never the $33 million in the bank. The real wealth was the quiet kindness and protection Robert showed me by planning ahead. It was the humility I managed to keep even when my own daughter called me useless and just the wife. Victoria chased the appearance of wealth, the luxury cars, the designer labels, the perfect Instagram life, the status that made her feel superior. In the end, that pursuit caused her to lose everything that truly mattered. She forgot the most important truth in life. Real wealth is measured by how you treat people when you believe they have nothing left to offer you. Money can be inherited or even stolen. But kindness, respect, humility, and basic human decency? Those qualities are earned through daily choices, or they are lost forever through arrogance and greed. If this story touched you deeply, if you have ever been underestimated or betrayed by family after sacrificing everything for them, if you have watched greed destroy relationships that should have been sacred, please comment real wealth down below. Share this video with anyone you think needs to hear this message. Also drop in the comments exactly where you are watching from today, and answer this question honestly. If you were in my position, would you have pressed charges against your own child? Or would you have tried to forgive them immediately? I read every comment. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to my full story today. You are not useless. You are not just a wife, just a mother, or just anything. Your worth is not measured by how much you can still do for people who only value you when it benefits them. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful true stories of justice, healthy boundaries, and rising stronger after betrayal. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Remember this always. Treat every person in your life, especially family, with genuine kindness and respect, because karma has a very long memory, and sometimes it shows up with a good lawyer and federal agents. Until next time, stay humble, stay kind, protect your peace, and never let anyone convince you that you are worthless. God bless you all.